coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition. The Defense Department plans to tighten its belt, what it could mean for the Navy and Marine Corp.
And the new permanent homeless shelter breaks ground in San Diego. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Ferrian.
And I'm Dwayne Brown.
Just days after a plea deal at Camp Pendleton closed the longest-running Iraq war crimes case against U.S. soldiers, an Iraqi spokesman says his government will take legal action to seek justice for the victims' families. On Monday, Marine Staff Sergeant Frank Wooderidge pleaded guilty to dereliction of duty during a raid that killed 24 unarmed civilians in Haditha, Iraq. 8 Marines were originally charged, 1 was acquitted, and charges against 6 others were dropped. We'll have an interview with Wooderidge's lawyer on Monday.
The Pentagon is planning a smaller Marine Corps as part of a big budget cut. The Corps will shrink by 20,000 troops, and the Army will be cut by 80,000 over the next 5 years. The new defense budget also calls for retiring 7 Navy cruisers and delaying the purchase of some other ships. The overall plan would cut $259 billion from the defense budget.
Crime rates were down in San Diego last year, despite a smaller police department. The overall crime rate dropped just over 4%, with violent crimes falling by about 9%. Police Chief Bill Lansdowne says intelligence-led policing gets the credit, with officers using technology and working with the community. There were 9 more murders last year than in 2010. Lansdowne says that's due to domestic violence cases.
Shark warning signs will stay up in Imperial Beach for one more day. A great white was spotted and photographed just offshore earlier this week, but it hasn't been seen since. Experts say the shark could be 18 feet long. An economic development board has turned down a proposed condo project in Little Italy. The Fat City Lofts project was opposed by Solar Turbines, which is across the street. Last night, the Center City Development Board voted against the project. CCDC's president still has to make a decision. The developers can appeal to the City Planning Commission. Tomorrow morning, volunteers begin counting homeless folks in San Diego County. Joanne is looking at the latest effort to help the homeless at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
Today, the city of San Diego broke ground on a new center for the homeless that aims to help people get off the streets permanently. It's a tall order, especially now as the number of homeless people has risen significantly over the past 3 years. Joining me are San Diego City Council member Kevin Faulkner, who represents District 2, encompassing downtown Pacific Beach and Point Loma, and Peter Karlstrom, Executive Director of the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, which will conduct its annual homeless count tomorrow. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I want to start with you, Kevin. Tell us about this new center.
It's an exciting center. It was an exciting day when we were out there earlier today and broke ground on new Connections housing in downtown San Diego, where we're going to provide over 223 beds for homeless individuals. But it's so much more than beds, and I think that's what makes this project so exciting. It's because we're bringing in wraparound services from all different parts of the city under one roof. So we will now have job training services, veteran services, medical services, psychiatric services available, all designed to help people get off the streets and make that transition into permanent supportive housing and then obviously housing later on in life. And so we've spent a lot of time on this at the city. And so today was very gratifying to see so many people who were out there who came together on this vision, and we're scheduled to open the new center at the end of this year.
How much is it going to cost and who's paying?
It costs about $34 million, and we're completely rehabbing the old World Trade Center in downtown San Diego. And it's a combination of funds, as you might imagine. We have some funds from the Housing and Urban Development on the federal end of it, the County of San Diego, and certainly a large portion from the City of San Diego and our redevelopment funds that came together to cobble all these funds together to make it happen. It's an ambitious project, but I can tell you as the council member who represents downtown, it's something we desperately need and something that I'm convinced will be a success.
Peter, let's talk about the numbers of homeless. I know last year, in your count, more than 9,000 people countywide homeless, up nearly 20% since 2008. What are people telling you in terms of why they're homeless?
Well, it really covers the gamut of experience. I mean, there are a lot of people who are suffering from mental health disorders, mental illness in the extreme, and addiction, and putting all that together when you have people who are duly diagnosed and suffering a number of other health conditions, loss of employment, it all piles up on people, and then if they don't have the safety net, they're living in the car, then they end up on the street if there's no shelter bed. And then here we have it. We have 9,000 people that we accounted for in January of last year who are homeless day in and day out in our county. That's the combination of both the shelter population, which is about 40% of that, and the unsheltered population, the remainder.
I want to talk a little bit about demographics, because this really struck me when I was reading your report. And while we do that, we want to show our audience some of the photos from an exhibit by photographer Bear Guerrera. Now, these are images of some of the homeless in San Diego, and what your report outlined, basically a majority of homeless, white, middle-aged, high school diplomas, some college education, not necessarily drug and alcohol issues. Tell us more about who the homeless are in San Diego.
And part of that report is through the survey portion that we do after the count. The count occurs tomorrow morning between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. throughout the entire county, where volunteers, including Kevin and his entire team, going out and canvassing every street and accounting for how many people we observe who are homeless. From that same day tomorrow for the next week, we interview 1,000 people who are living on the street and asking them approximately 150 questions, very in-depth information to find out why are they there, what's their background, what can be done in order to end their homelessness. And we found out a lot of interesting information, and we have to keep in mind this is self-reported information. So somebody who may be mentally ill, and if you're asking them, do you have a mental illness, and they say no, you take it for what it is.
But you also came across families?
Families, unaccompanied youth, and a number of seniors too. When you have an almost 18–19% increase in a 4-year span in our count, we're seeing increases in every demographic on the street.
And women?
Women, families, and again, people who are well educated. A lot of veterans. We have more returning veterans here than in anywhere else in the country. So approximately 18% of the population of those who are homeless are veterans in our county.
Kevin, how does the center get in terms of those issues and really address those now?
Well, and as Peter rightly mentioned, all of those different issues you have to address them all to really help people transition to be successful. And that's why we spent so much time on bringing all of these services together into one roof under one model. Because just providing an emergency bed for the night and saying, see you later in the morning, that's not going to help individuals that need so many, particularly mental health services, job training skills. And so the idea is truly to bring folks in and transition them out. That's what the center's designed to do. And we're so confident it's going to be a success, and we're pushing so hard for this, because one of the things we really want to do is replicate this in other parts of the region, because homelessness is not just a downtown San Diego issue. It's very acute in downtown San Diego, but we know we need to do this in other parts of the city and other parts of the region, and that's why we've spent so much time on getting this model together. And it's about helping people. It's about making it work. And so there's a lot of positive energy behind this, and I'm confident that we're going to be able to make it a success.
And I will add to that, it's going to be a success, because we've seen this work in L.A., and the provider path, along with family health centers and the other partners involved, have a proven track record of success. And Kevin does get a lot of credit for this. He's not looking for it, but this is not a sexy issue downtown, and it's easy to do other things. But he had the guts to get in there and do something about this, and it takes political will to help end homelessness.
We're going to have to leave it there, and we'll invite you back once it's open. Kevin Faulkner and Peter Karlstrom, thank you both for being here.
Great.
Thank you.
News of violence in Syria is resonating in San Diego. In a moment, we'll talk with some Syrians living here who support the anti-Assad movement. And a special report on California's proposed high-speed rail project. We'll hear from its boosters and folks in the Central Valley living on the proposed route. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Tonight on KPBS. At 8, discover how the Chargers really got their name and meet some members of the national champion SDSU basketball team from decades ago on Ken Kramer's About San Diego. Then at 8:30, explore Baja Med cuisine, drink rattlesnake tequila, and see all the changes in Tijuana on Crossing South. And at 9, the death of a German businessman may be connected to anti-German sentiments on Inspector George Gently. That's tonight on KPBS.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. On the next News Hour, Deputy Defense Secretary Ashton Carter on the $500 billion to be cut from military spending. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour. The American people have named PBS
the most trusted source of news
and public affairs
for the 8th year in a row.
Trust.
The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Syrian forces today stormed a suburb of the capital where intense protests against President Bashar al-Assad have taken place. The powerful reach of his government in quieting Syrian protesters may extend to San Diego. KPBS investigative reporter Meetha Sharma says activists here have also faced threats, but they say they're willing to die until Assad's regime is toppled.
Halim Gabori runs a security company in San Diego. He came to the United States from Syria 25 years ago. That's about as long as he's waited for a revolution to take off in his homeland.
And say no to the genocide in Syria.
And now that it has, he's plunged into mobilizing local support for the uprising. But his involvement has come with a price. Recently, one of his security firm employees received a call from a man with an unambiguous message.
Tell your boss to watch himself.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bashar's got to go!
Amnesty International says the Syrian government has followed and harassed pro-democracy Syrian protesters in the U.S. and Europe. Gabori says Assad has used every available resource.
Even the embassies here in the United States, the embassy and the consulate, we're doing the Syrian government's job by spying on us.
He approaches the threats with fatalism and guilt.
You know what? If my family is going to die there, why am I sitting here and still being afraid? Because my family is going to die anyway.
News out of Syria is filled with stories of disappearances, imprisonment, torture, and massacres. Since the start of the 10-month uprising, more than 6,000 people have been killed, including hundreds of children. Mahmoud Harmosh is president of the San Diego chapter of the Syrian American Council. He checks British, American, and the Al Jazeera news websites hourly for information on his homeland. Information he can't get directly from his relatives in Syria because of fear.
Over the phone, they cannot say much.
Yeah, that's true.
It's only by scripted language they will say things. That's we do have fresh air. It is okay to have bread today and so on, which means really they don't have anything left. Everything is gone, like oil for warming their houses, even providing basic needs for their families. All of that now is out of there. In fact, just today somebody called me and said that they have not been with electricity for 9 days.
Harmosh says few are spared from the government's crackdown.
Even my mom, in front of her house, which is like old town in Idlib, northern Syria, they have 3-4 tanks stationed there day and night. And when those observers came to visit the city, they just covered them as like old cars.
San Diego County is home to about 1,500 Syrian families. Many want to lend their support anonymously out of fear their relatives back home might suffer reprisals. Gabori says Syrian American participation in the reform movement has translated into lobbying policymakers.
We do write letters, we do make phone calls, we do contact. I personally, and I know Mr. Harmosh do that, we go and visit politicians in our neighborhood. We bring them to our meetings.
Up to 500,000 Syrians live in the United States. They include Muslims, Christians, and Kurds. One Syrian American who has voiced his support for the anti-government protests is Abdul Fattah Jandali, the biological father of Apple co-founder Steve Jobs.
I reject the brutality and killing that the Syrian authorities are committing against the innocent people in Syria. and because silence is participation in the crime, I declare my participation in the Syrian sit-in on YouTube.
Syria has banned the use of the iPhone because of cell phone footage capturing the brutal crackdown by Assad's forces. But Harmouche says the ban's effect is negligible because Syrians have awakened from decades of despotism. That's why when he realized nascent protests early last year had gained momentum, he was overcome.
I was crying. I felt that the people returned to life and they really want out of slavery and oppression. I visited Syria in 2008 and I felt the people dead. By hearing that a revolution started even from Damascus and then went all over to Daraa and to central country, Homs and Hama, then to Idlib and different cities in the country, I felt that the people are back to life and they are really wanting a freedom and democracy for real this time.
What is not known, Harmouche says, is how Assad will relinquish power.
That's Amitha Sharma reporting. There is an update to this story. The head of the Arab League says he will present a plan for resolving Syria's uprising to the UN Security Council next week.
The voter-approved bullet train that would link Southern and Northern California has been running into a lot of resistance throughout the state. From our partner station, KQED in San Francisco, Belva Davis has this look at the struggle over high-speed rail.
In downtown San Francisco, construction has already begun on the $4 billion Transbay Transit Center. The vision is for a Grand Central Station of the West. And as these schematics in the construction office show, high-speed rail is literally the foundation of that vision. Scott Boulay does community outreach for Transbay.
California is going to grow by millions and millions of people over the next few decades, and we need to be thinking of ways to be able to accommodate the transportation needs of all those additional people. High-speed rail is a solution to that pressing question. It creates the ability for people who are using the transit center to get to LA in 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's clearly good for San Francisco's economy. It's good for LA's economy.
Bullet trains would arrive at Transbay every few minutes from Los Angeles, San Jose, Sacramento, Fresno, San Diego, even Las Vegas. But the prospects for high-speed rail have dimmed in recent months. At a recent Rail Authority meeting, CEO Roelof van Ark announced he will resign. Tom Omberg also announced that he was stepping down as chairman, though he will remain on the board.
This project is bigger than any one person. It's going to be a project that's going to require courage, vision, and leadership over the course of at least the next 2 decades. So there's going to be a number of different chairs. There's going to be a number of different CEOs.
Governor Jerry Brown and President Obama have expended much political capital on high-speed rail in California.
President Obama strongly supports the project and has provided the majority of funds for the first phase. It's now your decision to evaluate the plan and decide what action to take. Without hesitation, I urge your approval.
The train's price tag is now around $100 billion, more than doubled what voters approved in 2008. Opponents in the legislature are proposing to halt the sale of $9 billion in voter-approved bonds. But the final nudge that could spell its cancellation may come from an unlikely spot. The Central Valley farming community of Hanford, population 53,000, is halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco.
This is dead zero on the train. We're standing where the train tracks are going to be right now, or I have been told more or less that that's the angle it's taking out across my property.
Geography, engineering, and politics have made this ground zero in the fight over high-speed rail. The Central Valley segment is the only part that can start construction in time to make deadline for federal matching funds. Project engineers push to begin here, as Van Ark himself explained in an earlier interview.
You've got to build that backbone system where you can operate at high speed to connect people over long distances. And that means you do not start in the city centers. You do not start at the ends. You basically start building that section where you're going to be operating at high speed. By the way, this is exactly how they do it in the rest of the world as well. Building in the cities is generally the last part that you build. Once you connect the metropolitan areas, you aim to get trains into the end stations. You normally do that through some form of phased implementation.
In this so-called blended approach, high-speed trains complete their journey by slowing down and sharing tracks with Caltrain and Amtrak.
My family has farmed in the lakeside area of Kings County since the 1800s. My family will have to move.
But the decision to start in the Central Valley fueled a backlash, evident at meetings such as this one in Bakersfield.
I'm Ross, and this is my wife Phyllis Browning, and we've lived here since 2005, but the property has been in her family since 1942. Her dad bought it, and he farmed 10 acres here.
The Brownies' house outside Hanford may be demolished.
We bought this place with the idea that we were going to retire, spend the rest of our lives here. It's nice and quiet and serene. The grandkids love it when they come down here. And I see that all going up in smoke. I don't see that happening now.
And I'm not against the fast rail. I mean, I'm sure in time that they're going to need the fast rail. But, you know, they don't have to take and just because they can, well, we're going to just take all this property away from people. To me, it's wrong. It's not right.
Because 7.5 is so small. It's just from Grangeville here, and it dead ends on our property. So it would be...
Steve Gaspar and his wife own this Hanford dairy. The tracks will split off a corner of the ranch.
This is not what I voted for, because I was one of those people that said, yeah, property sounds like a good idea. You know, getting to LA fast, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. We never thought that that proposition would lead to what we're going through right now.
The Gaspars are convinced the roar of 200-mile-per-hour trains will terrorize their cows, and they won't produce milk.
As you can tell, the cows are calm creatures. They don't like to be bothered. It's very peaceful and quiet out here.
But advocates say the cows will adapt, just as they have in France, where the TGV zooms past ranches regularly. That's a view shared by Brad Johns, the tomato farmer.
You can demolish the house, and they will pay you for the house. Or, in my case, I am going to have them pick up the house and relocate it to another location on the ranch, set it back down, drill the well, put in the septic, hook up the power. They were willing to pay for all that. And I'm out of pocket nothing.
Johns even hopes to put up solar panels and sell power for the trains.
I envision when this train is finally built that most of the folks here in town will get up on a Friday, decide that I would really like to go to San Francisco for a bowl of clam chowder, and then they will decide, you know what, there's a really nice show playing in Las Vegas, and they will get back on that same train and be in Las Vegas for dinner, get back on the train and be home by midnight to sleep in their own bed.
Such visions can still become reality, says Dan Richard, the incoming chair of the High Speed Rail Authority.
This is a difficult and complex state, but underneath all that, it's also a state where people believe that great things are possible. And I think that was what the governor was tapping into when he said that he supported high-speed rail, because he still felt California was a place where we do big things. But it doesn't mean that it's not hard.
If supporters of high-speed rail prevail, San Francisco's Trans Bay may eventually get its bullet trains, or this vision for the Grand Central Station of the West may end up, as the critics call it, a very expensive bus stop.
The No Train Please Act initiative has been cleared for signature gathering by California's Secretary of State. It would ask voters to eliminate the state's high-speed rail project. The initiative needs just over 800,000 signatures by June 21st to make the November ballot.
And this story was produced in association with Train Wars, a documentary tracking the people and political forces involved in California's high-speed rail project. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
She shot to stardom.
She never missed.
And became an American icon.
There's never been anybody like Annie Oakley.
This sweet person, but with this big bang gun.
But at the height of her popularity, scandal threatened to bring her down.
This newspaper report came out just dragging her into the gutter.
Annie Oakley.
She's such a complicated package.
On American Experience.
Tuesday at 8 on KPBS.
The fabric of democracy, I think, really has worn very thin.
The opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice.
Americans have to fight for the American dream.
Democracy is not what governments do, it's what people do.
This is how we fight back.
Moyers and Company.
I'm Bill Moyers. Join me Friday nights at 10 on KPBS San Diego.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Tonight, a follow-up to a follow-up. More of your comments on the UT San Diego's editorial on developing the city's waterfront with a new stadium, arena, and expanded convention space. If you recall, Sunday's paper featured the plan, a vision of the UT's new owner, Doug Manchester, on the front page. Well, PQ writes, I'm not inclined to pay for Mr. Manchester to deliver his propaganda to me. I'll be canceling my subscription to the UT. And Carol says, I was so angry that I didn't bother to read either section. He seems to be using the paper to promote his own views. Sad, sad, sad. This is not news by any definition. Well, tomorrow we'll be talking about the week's top stories with some of the county's top journalists. If you want to comment on the news of the week, send me an email and let me know if I can use your comments on air. That's jfarian@kpbs.org. And please follow us on Twitter, and you can always like us on Facebook.
Finally tonight, an update on the Surfing Madonna. The mosaic sparked a big debate in Encinitas last year. It's now a step closer to moving to Moonlight Beach. The Encinitas City Council last night approved installing the mosaic at the beach entrance. Two state agencies still have to say yes. If they do, it could be on display by summertime.
You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition.
Thanks so much for joining us. You have a great night. We leave you with a look at the forecast.
Good night.